Now this, whoever this Q latest cutout is saying we attacked them. No, they attacked us. They attacked you. We're not good Trump supporters. We're actually Hillary supporters. That's why Hillary has people suing us or calls me dark card or you know, all this crap. We're real people. These are our names. We're here. So I demand whoever the cutout is, Q, prove who you are, Q. Prove who you are. Come on the show then, you know, as a real boy, not Pinocchio, but a real boy in the real world. But you have to tell the truth and risk your life yet before the little fairy makes you a real boy. See, Dr. Corsi's a real boy. I'm a real boy. 24 years on air. Corsi, decades fighting the globalists. Best-selling books. One of the top advisors to Lou Dobbs. Exposing the whole New World Order, the whole globalism, worldwide. We're there exposing it with Ron Paul and others, how the whole global system works, how the New World Order operates, how the nation state could be rebooted to come back, and now it's happening. The world us and our listeners built. We're the resistance, and you came along, I know, and you were going to teach us all anonymously on some message board how the cow ate the cabbage.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
All right, well, QAnon's been around for about a year, got real big in the last 8 months or so on these different message boards online. And some of what QAnon said was accurate, some of it wasn't. I mean, by December, we were going to have, you know, Hillary Clinton in a FEMA camp. That hasn't happened. And, you know, they'll put out a photo of Singapore and saying, here's where the meeting is going to be 2 days after it's announced. So that's the latest thing. We give you sources like Dr. Jerome Corsi, who's written 3 #1 New York Times best-selling books on elections, gotten elections changed, you know, won elections. We have, you know, guests like Rand Paul, like Donald Trump, and we have all these guests behind the scenes, all this intel, and we have sources without getting into too many specifics in, you know, currently in Dev Group, formerly in Dev Group, in the CIA, in covert action, direct action, analysis. All of it who are patriots. And we know that Trump was recruited 2 years before he ran by these groups who decided not to run a coup against Obama, but to try to run an operational information war to reboot the republic. And so I'd ask Corsi, because 2 months ago I told Corsi, I said, I think QAnon's been compromised. And I'm getting information from my Pentagon sources who knew some of the people in kind of a consortium who agreed to put out information out of CENTCOM in Florida that they thought was informative via this pen name QAnon. And then a few weeks ago, I told Corsi, I said, I don't want to report on this anymore because I think it's a load of bull and it's been compromised for my sources. Well, I talked to one of our sources who can't come on today. He came on yesterday, Zach. And when Zach's name's known, I mean, his family's well-known. He's well-known. His family's involved high level with Eric Prince, high level with Trump, high level with Middle Eastern royalty. Yeah, Zach connected to that. So you talk about go-between in Libya and Saudi Arabia and Morocco and everywhere else. I mean, Zach's been in the newspapers. He's been on TV for 10 years. So this is a real guy who the FBI really comes and grabs him off airplanes and really sends him to CENTCOM. And there's patriots that want him to say what he's saying, but others that don't. So that's a real guy. And the same, not Zach, but someone else in the State Department, White House Connect, said on March 8th, the video's up there, said, Alex, they've already agreed in the meeting a few days ago in North Korea with the intelligence chiefs that they are going to tacitly agree to giving up the nukes and reunification and in 10 years, and starting with the coal plants and all of this, because Trump's really going to hit them in March, in late March, if this doesn't happen. And Kim Jong-un has unconditionally rolled over, as long as there's a public statement that we're not going to invade them, and as long as they're, you know, given those guarantees by the South. That all came out a month later, and I was asked, why am I being given this? Well, so you know we're credible when it happens, and so people know we're the real folks. By the way, watch out for QAnon. That's in March, and I'm skiing with my daughters, and I've got high-level people, and I'm going, this shouldn't be over a regular phone. They go, we don't give a damn. The president knows what you're doing. This is what's going on. And I'm like, well, Corsi likes QAnon. They go, well, yeah, some people in the White House say that. Earlier, it might have been good. You need to get away from it. So I've been on air saying, I don't agree with QAnon. Well, QAnon, whoever it is on a message board, you know, I'm a real person. I'm Alex Emmerich Jones, Alexander Emmerich Jones. I've been on air 23 years. Hillary Clinton calls me the dark card. I'm being sued by George Soros. Being sued by Georgetown University, run by the current globalist Pope. I deliver. I'm for real. I'm committed. Everybody knows it. I'm world famous, not bragging. I got 5 billion views on YouTube. But let me tell you, fancy pants, dandy pants, QAnon, whoever they says they are. I used to always say about Anonymous. People are like, do you like Anonymous or not? Anybody can put on a Guy Fawkes mask. My son, that Q It Up, did one, Rex Jones, Understanding Terrorism, something like that. Rob Dew will have it. My son told the truth in that piece he did. The first piece he ever did. I said, is this guy an idiot savant? He did a better job than I could when he was 10 years old. He's 15 now, already bigger than me. Or like The Secrets of Terrorism or something like that. So Corsi's going to take over the rest of the hour. It's just anybody can put on a Guy Fawkes mask. Was QAnon real before? Yeah, I was told it was a group of guys doing it. And then it changed. And then this morning, I was talking to one of those guys, not Zach, but another person. While they were playing golf, and they're like, yeah, no, we were involved in that earlier, just putting down our comments on what's going on, but we haven't been in control of this for months. And so I don't know how it got compromised, what went on, what happened, what's going on. It's that QAnon and this big phenomenon, if you talked about it, suddenly YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter would let you promote it. And I was like, that's funny that they let this stuff go viral. They're not shadow banning us. And that's when I really got concerned. And then I was told by people, yeah, watch out for it. So I want to move on from it. I'm not going to sit here and have some fight with something called Q that's on message boards and that it speaks with all the gravity of the universe. I told you Trump was going to win. He did. I told you we were going to restore the republic. It's happening. I told you the jobs would come back. It's happening. I told you Trump would start talking about global peace and victory for the world, 1776 worldwide. It's happening. You ever see QAnon's face? You ever have the president on his show? The president call up to congratulate his wife when they get married? I'm not bragging. I'm real. Corsi's real. You can sink your teeth into us. So Dr. Corsi, I know you're going to cover it when you come back. You're welcome to get into it. But I guess whoever this new Q guy is, he says we're hate mongers. He talks like the Southern Poverty Law Center now.
Well, I think it's pretty humorous actually. This PSYOP that is now Q has decided that the best way to advance the music, is to get all these people hating us. So they have a piece, a disinformation piece they published, Alex, on you and me, and this Q has just posted them, post 1339 and post 1340. So this is supposed to draw out an army of haters. I'm just now capturing all their hate messages. A lot of them are, scatological. I mean, these are, if this is the group that Q wants to recruit, you're not recruiting the highest and the best. And if he wants to divide those of us like you and me, Alex, who supported Donald Trump, the 2016 election, and turn the movement against us and other Trump supporters, I think it's pretty obvious that now Q's true role is coming out.
And Q talks like the Southern Poverty Law Center or ADL now. And let's understand that. We helped get Trump get elected. Now this imaginary person is the Trump defender. It says we're bad. Good luck with that, Southern Poverty Law Center.
So we have even right there. What's his name?
This is an emergency transmission from FEMA Region 6 in occupied North America.
There is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the Infowars.
This is Jerome Corsi, and I'm going to have the next hour here where we can look at some new developing intelligence that I think is important to understand the most critical developments going on in Donald Trump's basically defense of his presidency. I'm seeing, by the way, we've got just these new posts from Q attacking Alex Jones and me directly. I think this is a psyop operation. We're not going to discuss it at length. I'll discuss it on Twitter. I'm encouraging everyone who's impressed by this new Q to continue the scatological kinds of abuse you're doing, attacking me. It's kind of amusing when I look back at the attacks I've had on Unfit for Command in 2004, and then in 2008, it goes on with the Obama Nation when I opposed Barack Obama. It looks like the same group of Soros and Saul Alinsky communists have joined the Q movement, because I'm getting the same kind of abuse I got in writing those books. I mean, it's going to be, it's actually kind of amusing. And if this is what Q wants for his supporters, if this is where Q is headed, I think it's just proving the points that we're making today, and that this is not a way to support Donald Trump by dividing the movement, by getting one group of extreme haters to express their views in terms that would not be allowed at any acceptable party or gathering. I mean, these are, if this is the nature of what the Q support is all about, I doubt if Donald Trump would want to have anything to do with it. So go ahead and distinguish yourselves. I want to watch it all day, and I may toy with it for a while, bat it back and forth, and see if I can't get it to go into even more of a frenzy. But you're doing a pretty good job with it right now, Q supporters. Just keep at it. I'm having a good time with it, and we'll, I'm sure you're going to ruin me just like they ruined me and Unfit for Command and my 30 other books. This is not my first rodeo through this hate campaign, but have at it. Let's see how good you guys are. Now, what I really want to take in this hour is really not to waste time with more false Q stuff. You guys can all figure it out yourself. I decided for myself that I was done trying to support Q. I think when it did change, or when I perceived a change, I'm not going to support a psyop that's designed to divide the movement and destroy Donald Trump. I'm going to now continue with what we see as real information here to bring this to you in a current basis, because I don't think we need Q any longer to really give us open source information with riddles. There's an article that's been posted by Zero Hedge, and it's keying off of a very important article that's on the Wall Street Journal. And as many of you know who've been following the investigation of Mueller into the special prosecutor, and issues arisen in which the FBI and the Department of Justice is refusing to turn over to Dennis Nunes in the House Intelligence Committee and to the Congress in general. It looks like maybe up to 1 million pages of FBI and Department of Justice records. And in fact, Rosenstein went on record as saying that he wasn't going to be extorted. He was not going to do anything that he needed to do, that he was compromise the agency, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what it turns out, I think, and this I think is really the shocking part of this, is that there is it's now clearly admitted, Wall Street Journal picked up on it, Nunes has broadcast it, the FBI had a mole inside the campaign of Donald Trump. So the FBI, now we're talking about, again, the deep state conspirators, people like Andrew McCabe, who is number 2 under Comey, James Comey himself, who had to know about this mole. We're also talking about Strozik and Page. Strozik headed the counterintelligence operation. These are all college educated. No, these are not the FBI that went out and caught bank robbers. And what they decided to do in their New World Order insanity, their want no borders, their love of Hillary Clinton, decided they were going to commit treason. And they got a mole placed within Donald Trump's campaign. Now, what the article, I think, says clearly is that this spells that, in fact, the FBI was spying on Donald Trump's campaign. And it's spying on Donald Trump's campaign. That's never been done by official Justice Department agency personnel in the history of the nation. Not only spying, but then leaking to the press. I mean, committing any number of crimes using the Fusion GPS dossier, which James Comey told Congress could not be authenticated, could not be validated as the basis for a agreement, a warrant to go ahead and have electronic surveillance of Donald Trump's campaign. Now, the mole, I think the mole is Carter Page. And Carter Page was a former FBI paid informant. We can see that from 2015. And what his job as a mole, as a spy, was to go into the Trump campaign and talk to everybody he could talk to about Russia. Because you see, under the rules of FISA electronic surveillance, the warrant was issued only on Carter Page. But anybody Carter Page talked to, including Jeff Sessions or any of the other campaign officials, as collateral, could now suddenly be under electronic surveillance by the Department of Justice. We don't know how many of Donald Trump's campaign were under electronic surveillance, but I bet most of all the top officials. And then the electronic surveillance, we now know, continued at least through an extension in July 2017 that Rod Rosenstein gave it, which means that the FBI and the Department of Justice were conducting electronic surveillance on Donald Trump through the first year of Donald Trump's presidency, with the goal of trying to impeach Donald Trump. This is a coup d'etat based on false premises. Now, this is why Rod Rosenstein and Jeff Sessions, and I do not trust Jeff Sessions, why they both want to keep these papers from Congress. Because the moment these papers are at Congress, Congress is going to realize that there's been a conspiracy involving even Mueller, who Comey consulted with after he was fired, as to what Comey should do. And what Donald Trump should do right now in order to preserve these documents, I think, is over the weekend somehow or other secure them so these documents aren't destroyed. There's 1 million pages there. Donald Trump ought to make sure, even if he needs to send in military troops, that these papers are preserved. Because once these papers are made public or made available to Congress, these papers, the Department of Justice and the FBI, Mueller's investigation is finished, and the coup d'etat criminals are going to have to face justice in Donald Trump's counterattack. This could not be more important breaking news, and it's developing right now.
Donald Trump.
I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I left my cell, my pager, and my home phone at the bottom. I sent 2 letters back in autumn. You must not have got them. There probably was a problem at the post office or something. Sometimes I scribble addresses too sloppy when I jot them. But anyways, what's up, man? How's your daughter? I know you probably hear this every day, but I'm your biggest fan. Anyways, I hope you get this, man. Hit me back, just a chat. Truly yours.
I can't stand that motherfucker, and I feel like he's not paying attention to me.
Okay.
And I was kind of waiting for him to say something.
Like his Twitter fingers, yeah.
Yeah, and for some reason, he didn't say anything.
This is Jerome Corsi, and I'm doing this hour to try to bring to you some of the most recent intelligence that we're getting on how Donald Trump is planning to fire, first of all, Mueller, the special counselor, secondly, Rod Rosenstein, number 2 in the Justice Department, and third, Jeff Sessions. And I think the plan is developing very fast. If you just stay with me, we'll be able to show you the several dimensions of this developing plan. The first one being that we now know that the FBI hid a mole, a spy, within Donald Trump's campaign in 2016, while they were utilizing this fake Russian dossier in order to develop the idea of Russian collusion, which so far has not developed into any serious indictments. I'll talk in the next segment about the one indictment that has resulted from that. It does not look like it will result in a conviction. But at any rate, there's 1 million pages that the FBI is refusing to turn over to Congress, and Dennis Nunes has been demanding it. Now, and so far, Rosenstein even gave a little speech saying, stamping his foot and saying, I'm not going to be extorted into giving to Congress anything which I'm not supposed to give. Well, Rod Rosenstein then got a lecture on how the fact is that Congress has oversight rights over the FBI and the Department of Justice, and they can demand these papers. So it's essentially not a standoff, but it's a refusal by Rosenstein to do his job, comply with the congressional oversight request, which has led Congress both to develop articles of impeachment for Rosenstein and contempt charges for Jeff Sessions. Now, why they don't want to turn these pages over is because it's developing a couple of stories. One was in the Wall Street Journal, another in Zero Hedge today, in which Zero Hedge made it clear that in a meeting with the FBI and Devin Nunes, who is the GOP head of the House Intelligence Committee, the FBI blinked. That allowed Nunes and his staff to begin reviewing these 1 million pages. Now, Nunes evidently figured out the name of the mole. And this is, I think, the first step towards turning the tables, because once the mole is identified, once we know that if you think about it for a minute, once we know that the Department of Justice and the FBI, and I say this conspiracy started within the FBI, this coup d'etat conspiracy where Strozik and Page started exchanging these messages and deciding they were not going to let Donald Trump be president. Then they advanced this Fusion GPS dossier, which Comey said told Congress under oath could not be authenticated by the Department of Justice, yet they used it as evidence in part of Russian collusion, something which, by the way, is not even a crime. There's no crime of Russian collusion. And now we know they went so far as to put a mole. I think the mole is this Carter Page, who in 2015 had played a role with the Department of Justice in another sting operation on Russia involving U.S. citizens. Now, this whole plot means that the FBI and Department of Justice went so far as to not only do electronic surveillance of Donald Trump's campaign on a false pretense, but a spy within the middle of them, but continued the electronic surveillance with Rosenstein issuing a extension of it, July 2017. So they were collecting data, the FBI and the Department of Justice, on Donald Trump's campaign while Donald Trump was president. Now, if we go one level deeper into the story, what you're going to find out, this is where this came in, I think the conservative treehouse did a good job and supports a lot of the intelligence that I've been given about the operation being one that involved the CIA directly and John Brennan specifically, because John Brennan was, I think, the handler of Barack Obama since the beginning. What John Brennan did with his private research firm is they went in, they stole the passport information from Barack Obama so as to sanitize it. This was before the 2008 election. Now, essentially, I think what's happening here is that Rosenstein and Sessions, by trying to deny Congress the right to see these papers, know, as does Devin Nunes and Grassley in the Senate Judiciary Committee, that once the American people know what's in these 1 million pages and the depth of which a coup d'etat, a treasonous conspiracy, was hatched at the heart of the FBI. That's the central premise of my book, Killing the Deep State. You can get that deep state premise in your heads that the Department of Justice, supposedly there for law, went so deeply rogue that they thought they could begin breaking laws in order to get Donald Trump impeached. That's the heart of what we're talking about. And Mueller was again put in place to have the first round in which he was going to impeach Donald Trump. The problem is that Mueller's failed in his assignment because Donald Trump was not guilty of Russian collusion. And if these pages get brought forward and we see the involvement not only of Rosenstein, Comey, McCabe, Strozik, and dozens of others in the FBI and Department of Justice, but extending over into John Brennan at the CIA.
This is a giant criminal conspiracy we know goes all the way up to Obama and Hillary that ordered it. Let me just stop you there because you're going to take over in the next segment, but I've been sitting here watching and listening to you. And I just wanted to add something here about the whole QAnon thing that I said we were going to get away from. I had a chance to go read that latest work of fiction. We just were moving away from it because we could see dozens of the predictions didn't come true. We got attacked. Now this whoever this Q latest cutout is saying we attacked them. No, they attacked us. They attacked you. We're not good Trump supporters. We're actually Hillary supporters. That's why Hillary has people suing us or calls me dark heart or you know, all this crap. We're real people. These are our names. We're here. So I demand whoever the cutout is, Q, prove who you are, Q. Prove who you are. Come on the show then, you know, as a real boy, not Pinocchio, but a real boy in the real world. But you have to tell the truth and risk your life yet before the little fairy makes you a real boy. See, Dr. Corsi's a real boy. I'm a real boy. 24 years on air. Corsi, decades fighting the globalists. Best-selling books. One of the top advisors to Lou Dobbs. Exposing the whole New World Order, the whole globalism, worldwide. We're there exposing it with Ron Paul and others, how the whole global system works, how the New World Order operates, how the nation state could be rebooted to come back, and now it's happening. The world us and our listeners built. We're the resistance, and you came along, I know, and you were going to teach us all anonymously on some message board how the cow ate the cabbage, and some of what you said was true, like Trump is going to meet in Singapore 2 days after it was announced. Oh, my God. Here. You know, let me tell you that tomorrow's Saturday. Wow, I'm Q now. I'm like magic now. I'm a big boy now, too. So I had a chance to go read it while I was listening to you. What a joke. So we're going to publish, Corsi. Why don't you write an article about 20 times QAnon said outrageous crap that wasn't true.
Sure.
We'll just give whoever that is just what they want. We're so scared. We're pooping our little pants right now over you, the mighty whoever you are from the Clinton campaign or the Southern Poverty Law Center. That's what you write like. We're going to take on Soros and the globalists and the New World Order and have Georgetown sue me and all the attacks. But my God, you're so good, QAnon. You expose Corsi as an evil Clinton operative and me. Oh, exactly. Oh, thank God you're here to save Trump. Thank you for all you've done. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Infowars.com, newswars.com. Spread these live links. Coming up, War Room's got a jam-packed transmission in about 17.5 minutes from now. And we absolutely need your financial support. Incredible products at InfoWarsStore.com and real T-shirts you can wear in the real world and meet like-minded people. You'll never see QAnon wearing a T-shirt, though. You'll never see the Southern Poverty Law Center doing that out of Alabama. No, 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 no. They do other things when they're not being QAnon. The new Southern Poverty Law Center powered QAnon. Treason sold separately. The globalists are losing, but they're doubling down their attacks. There's one thing they fear, and it's people power. Infowars has defeated their censorship so far only because of you spreading the links, spreading the articles, subscribing, clicking the notification buttons, and getting the articles and videos out. But they are intensifying their censorship, so now it's more important than ever to ensure we keep the First Amendment alive and well right here in America and free speech worldwide. So from Australia to countries in Africa, to Europe, to Mexico, to right here in the USA, I salute you all for taking action and defending free speech. We will prevail.
This is Jerome Corsi, and I'm going to take this last segment following up what Alex led with, and that is this attack on Infowars and on me and Alex personally that has been launched by QAnon today in post 1339 and 1340. Now, one of the points I want to make, I can read, of course, in my Twitter feed, I can look at the notifications. And what's clear is that there's an army out there of posters who are ready to pounce. In other words, all the haters. This again, how do you identify a psyop? The psyop is going to be basically an attack founded on half-truths or part-truths. So you get an article posted on Reddit that is this long thread about how Alex and I had this conspiracy, and our conspiracy was really to steal QAnon's audience, build QAnon's audience up, and then steal it, which is pretty much of a joke. I think only a high school student would think that could work. And basically, when I supported Q, I did it because both Alex and I had intelligence and confirmation from pretty high up that this was legitimate for a while. But when it changed, all of our intelligence sources, mine I can verify for personally, alerted me to it that looks like an entire psyop stealing of the identity. Why? Because the Q, who was posting originally, well, I think was military intelligence, who was close to General Flynn, would never divide their group. A leader who divides their group by taking people like myself, who was more than willing to continue to support Q, and Alex and I had our differences in terms of whether to continue or not to continue. I've always been wanting to take the best of what Q was saying when it was the Flynn military intelligence group. This group is not them. Even the syntax, the language is different in the posting. This is very formulaic. This is done by AI, artificial intelligence, that generates these kind of threads. And you can see they've got some points being made, and then routine statements that expand your thinking, et cetera. Then questions asked, and then predictions made that don't come true. This PSYOP Q is actually posting pictures. Alex was ridiculing the one of posting a picture from Singapore as if that was a big mystery after the White House announced that the meeting was going to be held in Singapore. So this is distinguished by several things. One is you've got open source information, and those who are decoding this, some medic or whatever, I can't remember the name of it, we'll take one of these Q's posts and just give you all the newspaper articles from which it's derived. But this is 100% open source. Then thrown in with some cryptic things and some conspiracy-like questions, and it mimics the original Q style, but it is distinguishable in its characteristics, which are largely hollow compared to the original Q style. And secondly, then the real sign of a PSYOP. And by the way, I wrote on Fit for Command with John O'Neill in 2004, and we're just vilified by the Soros supporters of John Kerry. I mean, things that were said were just outrageous attacks, personal, scatological, foul language, insults, threats. Saying we've lost our minds, and these are all generated in advance, so that you push the button and the trolls pop into and some people are here really I'm sure confused or wanting to jump in on the hate bandwagon. But Q started a hate bandwagon. Reminds me also of when I published Obama Nation in 2008, or questioned Barack Obama's birth certificate. Again, the same kind of vilifying personal attacks. This Q is really interesting because he is vilifying me in particularly for writing a book, monetized it to sell a book. I monetized the Patriot movement to sell a book. Well, first of all, if I wanted to monetize a movement, I wouldn't be saying that I'd be saying anything possible to keep the Q audience, even lying when I thought that it was no longer authentic. I have to tell you, though, that thank you, Q. I mean, this new Q for attacking the book, because now what you've done, people say they're throwing their book away and they want their money back and all these things. Well, I mean, this is classic troll stuff. Want their money back, we'll find. I mean, this is, there's nothing wrong with making a profit selling a book. Donald Trump, whom these Q supporters are supposed to be supporting. They just a little critical thinking. They're attacking the fundamental profit motive that it's criminal now or somehow subversive to write a book and to promote it and expect to be paid for it. Well, Donald Trump gets paid for his books. And, when I was with WND, we wanted to sell the various Trump MAGA gear. Trump licenses all that, and the Trump organization sells it, I'm sure, for a profit. And they don't allow it to be resold. So, I guess Donald Trump is profiteering on the Trump train. Is that what it is? Or is this really basically a socialist attack? Profiteering, it's wrong to make money. That type of attack is usually left to George Soros and Saul Alinsky, disinformation artists. And if the Q movement is going to be swayed by a leftist socialist attack against writing a book and making money, calling that profiteering. By the way, that in the classic books on KGB techniques, profiteering ends up being one of the words they emphasize to use most. That and social justice, that capitalism violates social justice and is run by a group of people seeking to profiteer from class distinctions. So the current Q lines are pretty much communism 101. Pretty much communism. And this is the first time that Q in the entire movement since last October has decided to call out Alex Jones and me in order to provoke a controversy and a fight. What leader, developing the Patriots movement would not embrace someone like myself who, even disagreements with Alex in terms of when the Q movement had turned into a PSYOP. Now I'm convinced Alex is right. It is 100% cooperated as a PSYOP. And possibly I should have listened a little bit more carefully earlier on. But I found, the Q, when it was the military intelligence with General Flynn, were advancing some good information and we're doing it in an authentic way. And I could take information that I had, my analytic information as an investigative journalist, and weave it together, and we could bring people along to expand to millions, the group that were following Q. That was always my stated aim. Now to have Q turn on us and attack us, some of the big supporters. I mean, I don't remember George Washington attacking Thomas Paine or saying Sam Adams. Now he's now really crazy. He's profiteering. Unless, maybe George Washington had a future vision and could say, oh, Sam Adams is going to be making a beer out of this. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. And if I were to read you, some of these posts that I'm being attacked with right now are just too scurrilous even to bother to write. I've saved some of them. I may post later. But you're getting people attacking me with such a level of hate, such a level of intensity of feeling, scatological and other abusive references, to me and to my family, because we, I don't know why, because I guess I dared to say this had changed. It was now a PSYOP. And I guess QAnon, not being smart enough to figure it out, decided to prove it was a PSYOP. If this is the quality of people supporting the new Q, I'm not sure Donald Trump wants them. This army of rabble, I'd be much happier if they were supporting Hillary with this kind of vehemence. They sound like a little bit like they're, on just this side of Antifa. Give these people rocks and stones and they'll start throwing them. Q is basically misguided here philosophically. I don't know if he really understands the implications of saying the patriots are selfless. I mean,
if you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Years ago, Infowars Life created the powerful MycoZX formula to help you combat internal yeast. As the years went on and more toxins were pumped into the environment, our team knew we had to create a bigger and better formula to help support your gut health. MycoZX Plus is the result of the search for that formula, a unique natural formula designed to support the body's natural cleansing of yeast and fungal organisms. There's no better product to help your body fight back. MycoZX Plus helps support a healthy microbial balance in the body, supports your digestive tract, and addresses the intestinal yeast that can cause you problems if it goes unchecked. Powered by an impressive list of ingredients, including grapefruit seed extract, pau d'arco bark, and grapeseed extract, our formula is fueled by ingredients that stood the test of time as powerful microbalancing properties. Pick up a bottle of the new and improved MycoZX Plus today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.